All right, can you guys hear us okay?
I can hear you.
All right.
All right.
It's just Roger in here right now, but I will take this opportunity to share that this is a hybrid meeting. And if anyone wants to attend in person, they are welcome to come down to the coalition offices. And we will always have an in-person hybrid option here to be able to participate. And that's not just for advisory council members, that's for any guests that might be joining us. I don't know if we'll have a lot of guests on today, but anyone who attends the meeting is always welcome to come in person. That includes you, Taria. Please feel free to stop by in person.
I would love to be there in person.
It's cloudy and like 65 today.
Jessica, hi, this is Robin. I know Allison is gonna be late, so I'm happy to chair until she gets here, but I'll wait for somebody to let me know when they think we are ready and that we have participants that we anticipate coming here.
Roger here. Jessica just stepped out of the room for a moment.
Thanks, Robin.
But if you're ready to go, we just need to confirm we have a quorum, I think. Jessica's back.
Sorry about that. Had someone peeking in the door.
We do not have a quorum yet, if it's, yeah.
Jessica, I was just letting you know that Allison's gonna be late, so I'm happy to chair until she gets here.
Oh yeah, Julia, I forgot you're up in Fairbanks. My son lives up there now and he said yesterday was miserable.
Yeah, we spent almost the entire day on the water and we were still just cooked through. And I think it might be 90 degrees right now.
Oh
my goodness.
No, thank you.
Do we have quorum?
That's correct, Mitch, right?
What's that?
That we're waiting on one. I think we've got this.
We're waiting on one.
So, and I'm at the office, so hopefully I'm in the count.
Oh yeah, did you count Roger?
I did.
Okay.
I think, yeah, one more person, one more counselor, I should say.
Did Jessica have something to share? Not Jessica, was there something to share while we're waiting for?
This was gonna be part of my report, but this can make my report a little bit shorter. I did just want to share, we do not have a NOFO yet. I still can't believe we don't have a NOFO yet, but prior to this meeting, we did host a brief little, it ended up being about 35 minutes long, opportunity for anyone who is thinking about a bonus project. I wanted people to have the opportunity to, ask questions and me be able to give good detailed answers before I have to give the standard HUD. You should read the RFP if you want to know the answer to that question. And so had a really good discussion with people there. Had probably about, Kim, you were on 11 or 12 people on, I think. So that was really good. Have had a couple emails from people as well saying they weren't able to join, but they are really interested in applying for a bonus project. So that is really exciting. And one thing I shared at this meeting, and I want to make sure I share here again, I know I've shared this in the past. But if there is a DV, a domestic violence bonus opportunity, and it is likely that there will be, I don't remember one where there hasn't been a DV bonus opportunity, so I feel like that's pretty high likelihood of happening. That you do not have to be what they call a DVSA provider to apply for that bonus project. That stands for domestic violence sexual assault. So in the past, those DV bonuses have only ever been applied for and awarded to either Awake or STAR. So if they haven't applied for a year, which last year they didn't apply, we don't have a bonus project then for that year for DV funds. So I did want to stress that you don't have to be a DVSA provider to apply for that bonus project. You do, however, have to serve domestic violence survivors with it. So if you have, for example, an existing permanent supportive housing project and you would like to expand it, let's say by 5 units, using the DV bonus funding, you can do that. So really just want people to know that. I can't force anyone to apply, but I will be very sad if our continuum does not submit a collaborative application that doesn't have all of our bonus opportunities taken full advantage of. So really just want to encourage people early. If you are thinking about that, ask some questions now if you want clarification. But if you have any capacity to be able to do that expansion and come in with a bonus project, our community could sure use it.
Yeah, and I think to reiterate what I think Jessica is saying is that if you have any curiosities about possibly being able or any angles that you might collaborate with other entities, and you're wondering if the event that one of those projects comes up, if you would be able to apply, now would be the time to get the questions.
Yep.
Because once it's out there, then it's, yeah. So.
Yeah. It's definitely harder to get into the details once it's out there. Whereas right now I could answer some pretty specific questions. I used an example during the meeting that like if you were wanting to serve a very specific population of people with blonde hair and glasses, I can talk to you about those very specific projects. And if you want to serve people who aren't part of your housing units, like I can tell you that no, that's not an eligible project, versus once the NOFO is released, all I can tell people is you should read up and see if that's eligible. And then that person would lose the opportunity because they would apply for a project that then wasn't eligible. So now is definitely the time if you're thinking about something very specific. I can answer those types of questions.
I also think it's worth stressing that you do not need to be a DV agency to receive these bonus funds. I know in Boise, we have a project or an organization where their main focus is not DV, but they did apply for this DV bonus several years back and have been operating an additional rapid rehousing project with this funding for years now. So you do not have to be a DV specific agency, but these funds do have to be targeted to survivors. So,
yep. And to piggyback on what Kim just said, the other thing that I think sometimes people don't realize is that if you are not a DVSA provider, you do not have to use an HMIS equivalent. You can use normal HMIS for that project. I know that's a turnoff sometimes as well. So really wanted to stress that. It honestly is what changed my tune on this. I was pretty resigned to, well, if no one applies, we're not going to have one. And then as soon as I heard about that from Kim and from our HUD technical assistance provider, I was like, oh, that just opened it up. Like I truly feel like if you are thinking about an expansion project and you you feel like you have the capability and the capacity to serve domestic violence survivors in that expansion, let's think about that bonus project too, so. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I think I caught on a little bit late on what you guys are talking about here, but I'm not sure if this might fall under that category. We currently just occupied the Henry House, working with DOC, and just really trying to wrap the program dynamics around it after we do this initial room audit. So I'm definitely interested. I just don't know the specifics. Like I caught a little bit at the end. So maybe we can have an offline conversation or whatever is appropriate to see what those options are.
Absolutely. And Rob, I will say, one thing I did stress, we had I talked about it right before you joined. We did have a little Q&A session right before this. And Crystal was there. So Crystal might have more answers than me about your specific project, but I did talk a little bit about the types of projects that are eligible in terms of permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing projects, or transitional housing projects that have a rapid rehousing component. So those are the 3 types of projects that are eligible traditionally under the bonus opportunities. So if your project fits one of those categories and you guys want to talk more, absolutely. Would be very excited to have that conversation.
Awesome, Robin. Those are exactly the connections that critical to make right now if we can. So appreciate you.
So Robin, I see we're still waiting on one more for quorum. I could give like all the rest of my report since it's not an action item. And then whenever we start, we can just skip over it if you'd like.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It's a good idea. Thank you.
For government updates, I don't have a whole lot for government updates. There's not a whole lot really moving right now on the government side. Myself, Meg, and Lisa, our external relations director, went to a conference held by the National Alliance to End Homelessness down in Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago. And we did have an opportunity to have meetings with our delegation and really stressed the importance of ensuring that Alaska has equitable access to HUD funds, that Alaska is unique and that not all of the HUD solutions are a one-size-fits-all solution for us. And so we really just want them to keep that in mind and keep all of that aware. Julia, I thought it was awesome. I will say it was 90+ degrees with 70% humidity, and I was absolutely miserable. So I am not made for hot temperatures, and me and the East Coast in the summer do not get along. But the conference itself was amazing. I love being able to have conversations with other people doing really cool things. One thing that Anchorage has been having a lot of conversations about that I was excited to network on was safe parking. So I was able to talk to a lot of organizations in different states that are running safe parking in their community and how they did it and what challenges they had. And like some of the nitty gritty on the operations, like where do you get your insurance from and what kind of coverage is it? Because I know that's like the biggest barrier on safe parking is that liability. So was really excited about that. And then so had those conversations, and then last Friday, HUD did release a NOFO, not our NOFO, but they released a NOFO called COC Builds. And it is funding that is going to be available for purchase and or renovation of property to be turned into permanent supportive housing. I am thrilled about this. It has been ages since there has been capital funding available for permanent supportive housing development anywhere. But even more so exciting is that they have said, we recognize that states with small populations, I'm being recorded, but they get the shaft. And so they said, out of the $175 million that we are making available, we are carving out 65 million of that. And it is available only to states that have a population of less than 2.5 million. So, I am anxiously awaiting more details. All they have released so far is just the notice of funding opportunity. So I've gone through that, looked at different projects and different types that are available. They're supposed to be hosting a webinar soon with more information. The project would be due at the end of November. The applications would be due at the end of November. And the NOFO is that it would run very similar to how the COC projects run. So you would stand up as a COC, you would submit one application for your continuum of care. You would run either a rank and review process, or you would have a process where projects are developed with the COC. Like one of the examples they gave, so the project maximum is $10 million. One of the examples they gave is that if you had 3 projects that were $3 million a piece, you could submit one application. You're only allowed to submit one, but it would be one application that would then sub-grant for those 3 projects that were $3 million a piece. So there's a couple different tactics that COCs can take for these funds. I hope to know more in the next week or so as they release more information, and hopefully a webinar with some Q&A opportunity. And then look for an email from us. We will host a meeting where we will have those more in-depth conversations about what projects our community might be interested in. But the last thing I want to say about it is of the money that is available, you are allowed to use up to 20% of those funds for operations and supportive services. So if the cap on the project is $10 million, you can have $8 million as your capital ask and $2 million for operations and supportive services. And then that operations and supportive services money becomes part of your COC renewal. So that is a huge opportunity for us to bring in ongoing operating support to go along with development of permanent supportive housing. So I feel like I cannot convey what my face looked like when I saw this NOFO release. I was beyond thrilled. Our community needs this so badly, and we are such a great COC that I know we will submit an amazing application with a project or multiple projects that are really going to make a difference in our community. So I really look forward to having those ongoing conversations over the next couple weeks. And my apologies to Will. This means we are probably going to be running 2 rank and review committees, one right after the other, and we're going to make it happen. So that is the most of what I have. Oh, and the coalition has a new employee. We filled our vacant CE specialist position. Her name is Michaela. She comes to us from the Office of Children's Services. So her has a background in social work, has most recently been working with Office of Children's Services. So she literally just started on Monday, is finishing her training, or maybe just finished her training to have HMIS access. So look for her at case conferencing meetings going forward, and we're really excited to have her on board. And I see Mitch's note that we have quorum, so cool. Hand off.
Thank you. Thanks, Julia. Oh, looks like Allison, are you here?
I am here, but I'm on a dead iPad and a dead iPhone, so I'm trying to charge really quick. If you could just keep leading, I'll jump in and add all the stuff about the anchor home and stuff like that. If you could just, I can't see everything that I'm supposed to be doing, but at least I'm not driving and doing this. So there is a positive.
No, thanks. That's great. And just to let you know, we were waiting for quorum, so we're kind of a little out of order on our agenda, but that's okay. Okay, so after that wonderful report by Jessica, thank you so much. I will say welcome to everybody who is attending the meeting today. Do we have somebody to do a land acknowledgement, Jessica?
I can do it.
Okay,
Because it's right in front of me and I just have to read. A land acknowledgement is a formal statement recognizing the indigenous people of a place. It is a public gesture and appreciation for the past and present indigenous stewardship of the lands that we now occupy. The Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness and the HPRS Advisory Council would like to acknowledge that we gather today on the traditional lands of the Dena'ina Athabascans. For thousands of years, the Dena'ina have been and continue to be the stewards of this land. It is with gratefulness and respect that we recognize the contributions, innovations, and contemporary perspectives of the Upper Cook Inlet Dena'ina.
great. Thank you. Is Grace here?
Grace is not here and she had indicated that she'd like to do a mission moment. So if anybody else has anything, you can.
Well, not to hog the meeting, but I can't think of a better mission moment than being able to attend the ribbon cutting of the new Providence House, which is 45 units of permanent supportive housing for elders experiencing homelessness here in Anchorage, along with 6 beds that are recuperative care beds managed or referred into by Providence Medical Center. They are anticipating starting people moving in mid-August. The units are absolutely beautiful. The facility is amazing and it is so needed. And I'm really excited at being able to see, we had our highly vulnerable case conferencing this morning and being able to see just how many people have applications into the project and intakes scheduled. So it's really going to serve a lot of people who really need that support. And Robin can fill in if I missed anything on that particular project, but oh, it was so exciting to be there.
It was, no, I'm so glad that you said that, Jessica, because it was a great event. The building is phenomenal. And yeah, we're really excited. I know we have several folks that are staying in our shelters that have applications in. And I think that actually the first 4 applicants were interviewed yesterday. So the interviews are starting and they'll start moving people in mid-August. So super, super exciting to see this project come to fruition.
And Lisa put some pictures in the chat. So if you have not had a chance to go down to that facility either during the construction, it looks way different now, or at the ribbon cutting earlier this week. There's some pictures there of a unit and some of the common areas. And one thing I have to share, Robin, it was so funny. I was going through the tour with Bob Dole from Rasmussen. And you can tell the people who provide the services versus the people who build the buildings, because both of us are like in the bathroom commenting on the drains and everyone else is like, oh, look at this view. And we're over there like, look at this extra drain in the bathroom so you never flood the unit. Like, it was quite funny. But I will say, I don't know if you can see it in that last picture that Lisa just posted, but the bathrooms are all set up to be accessible with roll-in showers. And then there's a second drain right in the middle of the bathroom. So if your shower backs up, there's an alternative drain and you're not going to flood your unit and get all of your stuff all wet. So yeah, the builder in me was so excited about that extra drain.
It's great. All right. Okay. So we need to, next is, I think, is the approval of the consent agenda. So if everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda, can we get a motion to approve today's agenda?
I make a motion, Robin.
Thanks. Anyone?
I'll second.
Thank you. And then we need to next do an approval of the 6/27 meeting minutes. So hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to look over the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Roger. I'd like to talk about something on them, but conditionally motion to approve.
So
Yeah.
do we
This
want
is Charles. This is Charles. I'll go ahead and second.
go ahead, Roger. What did you want to talk about from the meeting minutes?
Oh, thank you. So I did the mission moment last month, and I just wanted to talk about that a little bit and about the trauma that I experienced as the Centennial. I knew when it was announced that that was going to be stood up for the folks that were at the Sullivan to go there, that the community was going to experience trauma both in and outside of camp. And it was about 30 days into it, almost 2 years ago to this date, that a group of our youth from the community ended up moving into there. And it was very challenging for me in there. And so the update that I gave was for two of the young folks that were in my camp, and I don't want to call them out by name. Eventually they will return to tell their own story, but how significant that was, not just to me, but to the community, to help see them step through. And so in the mission moments, to say that there were acquaintances that are receiving services and healing was just kind of seemed like downplaying of the trauma that not just I went through, but that they went through and that they have successfully came out of. And while they may not be here to update their stories right here and now, I promise you there will be a day, and I hope very soon, when they will be stepping into that role. But in the meantime, there were still things that I experienced during Centennial that I found traumatic, and I shared that trauma with others who were in there. And while we make space for these two young individuals to heal, we need to make, in my opinion, space for the whole community to heal. And I would like and would hope that the community would join me in this season of making that happen. Bringing those voices all the way forward and gaining some understanding in what folks deal with as they go through events that they find traumatizing or traumatic. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I guess I don't object to this being left in the meeting minutes as it's stated, just with a deeper understanding amongst those, of the larger given that we are also collaborating to make happen.
Okay, Roger, I apologize if I mischaracterized your comments. I did not mean to downplay anything that you mentioned during that meeting. If you want to touch base with me offline, I'm happy to update those minutes. And I think we can go forward with the conditional approval, and then once I can get sort of some more clarity and some more resolution on what you were hoping to communicate. And then, we can add that to the minutes so that that's all on record.
Sounds good, Mitch. And I'm here at the office, and I'm not calling for a specific change. I am fine with approving these the way they are, and let's have that chat. So I don't feel like I'm not on the same page with everybody else. And this was, trauma that I experienced, not you. So I'm seeking my own healing as well. And that's not understanding that it's not your fault. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you, and thanks, Roger, for the clarification. All right, what is next on our agenda? Thank you. Allison, are you there? I see her coming and going.
I am here. I'm just trying to charge up my iPad so that I even have the agenda. Sorry.
No worries. So new council.
Never do something while you're on vacation, right? It just never works. The best laid plans. I apologize, group.
No, that's okay. So these I believe this next item, Jessica, you can correct me if I'm wrong, are for the two nominees for counselor positions. Is that correct?
Yes, and let me scroll and make sure they're on. I see Sam.
Amber is not here. I'm a little, I'm kind of worried that maybe my invitations got blocked by the Anchorage municipal email system. But I think, you know, we can still approve Amber for the council at this meeting and just follow up. I can follow up by phone afterwards. But Samantha is here.
Okay.
And I did include I hope everybody had a chance to check out the applications. I included them with the packet. So I think we should give Samantha a couple minutes to make a quick introduction. And then if folks have any questions, we can go through a few of those. And then I will excuse Samantha to the waiting room while we do a roll call vote for approval. And then after that, we will let Samantha back in and go from there.
Great.
All right, is that my cue?
That's your cue.
All right, wonderful. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Samantha or Sam McNelly. I use she, her pronouns. And I was born and raised here on Denina lands in Anchorage. Since I was a kid growing up here in town, it has always been a priority for me to play an active role in my community and to intentionally and consistently support the people in my immediate circle and my larger community. The way that I've chosen to engage in my community has, of course, evolved over time, but one part of this journey was working in one of Anchorage's emergency shelters for 4 years in a direct service capacity. I have never been so humbled and challenged by a job and also loved it at the same time as I did in that role. And in that time, I developed a really deep passion for the complex interrelationships between domestic violence and homelessness in our community. I learned a great deal in that role, but what I learned about the systemic challenges that people face when navigating Anchorage's homeless and social service systems is what has really stuck with me. And I know that these complexities have only grown as policies and practices have continued to evolve in Anchorage and beyond. My current work is at the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium as the evaluator in the Wellness and Prevention Department. And this role allows me to look at how we can make our work to keep Alaska Native people safe and healthy as meaningfully and effectively as possible. In my role, I get to use the nerdiest side of myself, the part of me that loves public health and data and analysis, and the most emotionally connected part of myself that really deeply wants to support people living their best, healthiest, and safest lives. I hope I would get to bring these and other skills, experiences, and passions to this advisory council, and I would really value this opportunity to serve Anchorage's homeless community and to do my part in creating and advocating for systems that allow everyone to be safe, healthy, and housed. And I'll stop there.
Thank you. That was great. Okay, so did I hear that the next step then is that Samantha will step out for a minute and then, or do we want to talk about Amber's application? What's the best protocol here?
This is Roger. I would motion to elect both candidates.
Okay, Samantha, I'm going to put you in the waiting room for a moment and we're going to do a quick vote and I will allow you back in. Okay, Emily's going to read off the roll call and folks can just indicate a yes or no. We have 8 members here. So I believe 5 votes would approve the candidates.
Righty. If everyone is ready, I'm going to go from the top of my list at my end. So we have Holly Morales.
Yes.
And I apologize if I pronounced her last name wrong. You can correct me. Allison Keir.
Yes.
Roger Branson.
Yes.
Will Walker.
Yes.
Charles Gorman.
Yes.
Robin Dempsey.
Yes.
Julia Terry.
Yes.
Jenny DeGrappa.
Yes.
Thanks. That is unanimous approval.
All right, thank you very much. I will admit Sam and we can give her the good news and we will move on. Okay, Samantha's back.
Great, and then we need to, has everybody had an opportunity to look at Amber's application?
Yes.
Do we want
Yes.
to we'll call for a vote on Amber?
I would motion to accept Amber's application.
Second.
Great, so we'll do the roll call.
Yes, just a sec, sorry. Going back, I'm gonna go in reverse order. Jenny DeGrappa,
Yes.
Julia Terry,
Yes.
Robin Dempsey,
Yes.
Charles Gorman, Charles. I think he maybe stepped away. I'll continue. Will Walker,
Yes.
Roger Branson,
Yes.
Allison Kier,
Yes.
and Holly Morales.
Yes.
Okay. It still passes even if Charles is not able to give his yes, so it's okay.
Okay, welcome aboard, Samantha. I'll be following up soon with your onboarding paperwork and all of the following meeting invites and everything, and we can get you locked in and working with the committee and everything else. Congratulations.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome to both, right?
Yeah.
Let the committee recruitment begin.
Should we go ahead and tell them now that they're up for president and vice president respectively? Maybe we'll give them a week.
You guys crack me up.
All right, Allison, I'm going to turn it over to you. I think you've got the next part of the agenda, and I'll turn the chair over to you as well.
Okay, so let me find it. So it's let me make sure that I have it. So it's a special presentation and discussion on the retreat. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Again, I apologize. So I just wanted to touch base with everyone. You know, we had an amazing retreat, and if we could probably have one of those once a month, I would say in about 6 months, we would all know exactly what our roles are, and we would be amazing, continue to be amazing advocates, getting stronger for what the role of the COC is. But I wanted to just touch base with you guys, because we have sent out a couple of reminders, and hopefully Mitch is going to give us some better news about has everybody kind of completed the survey? Do we have a little bit more of an understanding of what committees people would like to be on? Because we really do see our work happening as a advisory council through committee, right? Like, and it not only, I'm not saying in absence of the full meeting, I'm saying it's just going to add to the value of the full meeting, right? So as a, I don't know about anybody else, but I've had a lot of great kind of learning about what is our role as the COC Advisory Council. And part of it, actually, there's some additional business that we would have entertained by this group, which is talking about a press release on Anchored Home. So when we talked at our retreat, we talked about the fact that there are many communities that take the name of their strategic plan, and that is, instead of a really sexy name like HPRS Advisory COC Council, they take the name of the plan that is a requirement. Basically, it's one of our roles. It's probably our, I don't know, if anybody would agree, but I would say it's probably one of our biggest roles is the management of the strategic plan and the forward motion of effective interventions happening in our community. And so with that being said, that would have us be kind of renamed as Anchored Home. And I'm not saying it to call right to vote. I'm saying it more because I would love to hear people's thoughts about that, and thoughts about, I don't know if anybody watched a couple of weeks ago, they did or maybe it's not even been 2 weeks ago, but at the assembly meeting, you know, they asked for the Anchored Home to be approved by the assembly. And it really kind of, you know, my opinion, created a little bit of confusion. Because they were kind of like, you know, multiple assembly people were talking about the fact, well, can we adjust it? And are we approving it as is? Or is there any way that we can go back in and, you know, make some strategic changes to the document? And so it started a bigger conversation, which is, what is the role of the COC with the Anchored Home Plan? And the Anchored Home Plan is a, and maybe this isn't the right word, Jess, you can help me, but it is a requirement of the advisory council to have a strategic plan. And we then contract out that role of the development of the plan to the coalition, which is our lead agency. So there's been a lot of conversation in the community about, well, whose plan is it? Is it the coalition's plan? Is it our plan? And we felt like probably there would be a need to have a press release, whether anybody picks up on the press release or not, but to have it posted that really kind of explains the fact that it is a step in the right direction. It's not an operational plan, it's a strategic plan. And we will be the ones that help with the coalition operationalize it, as well as you can see some of the various strategic initiatives. You know, one of them is to bring forward, and I'm not even sure where they got the number 100, but 100 different providers or participants, or you know, I'm not even sure, I don't have it in front of me what the word was, but basically this is our opportunity as a advisory council to really talk through what is our role with this plan. Grateful to have Jess on the line, because her insight into what is our role as an advisory council really helped the 8 or 10 of us that were at the retreat really kind of understand what's our purpose, what's our mission in this space. So I think Mitch sent it out earlier. I haven't been checking my emails, but we tried to communicate in such a way that, one, it shows that, you know, it really is a responsibility that we're going to be taking on too, to be actively involved in it. And that we also want, as a, you know, I'm making a recommendation as a group that we will be maybe realigning some committee structure so that we can better handle the work on each strategic initiative. So an example might be that one of the initiatives is about sustainability and funding, bringing more funding into the mix, right? We don't naturally have a committee in alignment with that role or that responsibility, you know, oversight on any of our committees. So I would make a recommendation that we would develop a committee that is the role, is to look at what the funding is coming into our community to support all of the work in this space. And you know, not that I'm throwing my name in the hat for every committee, but I'm not officially on a committee. I'm on, I think, every committee, but I would be willing, you know, as we look at, you know, the next year and my role changing from chair, I'd be happy to throw my name in the hat when it comes time to chair that committee and be a part of really making sure that our community meets some of the financial needs that exist in order for us to operate an effective plan. So I'll stop there. And if somebody can help me, if people are raising their hands, I don't have a big view on my.
Roger here.
Great, Roger. Great.
So, yeah, I
Go for it.
really appreciate that, recap, Allison. I was at the assembly meeting where they were discussing whether the anchored home was the community plan or
Right.
whether it was a plan that still needed some partisan work done on. And I think what I picked up from that is that the coalition itself, ACH, still has a little bit of community building to do to get everybody on the same page so that we are all agreeing on it. And on the anchored home thing, I, as co-chair of the compliance committee, you know, there were some clarifications that got brought up during the retreat that are working their way through the system. And I think we're heading in a very positive direction, but we need to, you know, just keep going back to the base, making sure that we're representing everybody that's out there, and all the players. And traditionally, you know, we've had back and forth. I'm talking 20 years back. You know, one group or one party that comes in power and it's all their people, and then when the next group comes into power, then it's all somebody else's people.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly and surely, we're all becoming the same people. And I really appreciate Hinton being represented here. And you know, we've got to find a space that we, you know, can really lock arms and be working together in the same direction, because the political pendulum has no place in serving our population at that level, in my opinion. So I'm not sure where it was heading with all that, other than to confirm that I think you're on the right, heading in the right direction, and to thank you, Allison.
And if I could just really quickly, I promise, I always say really quickly and then it never is, but so there was the assembly meeting last Tuesday, but then there was also the Housing and Homelessness Committee meeting yesterday. So one of the presentations that I made was on the outcomes so far. And what it did was lead into a lot of this discussion that we're having right now. And I think I will say the same thing I said at that meeting yesterday. Anchored Home is a COC plan, and it's intended to be the framework that we build out the operations plans, is what I'm going to say, because I can't say operationalization, whatever. So you wouldn't, for example, have in your Anchored Home plan how you run a shelter. Like that doesn't fit in there. That's operationalizing things. And so what you would do is you would build out like individual work plans or workflows, I like to call them, or you would build out policies around that. The framework is, what is our end goal? How are we getting there? So by highlighting, formalizing those partnerships, I really appreciate what Roger said there. That's what we're trying to do there, is as a COC, make it so it doesn't matter who is filling any particular role, that the system has got it. We've got it. We know how this works. We know how we talk to each other. And I see Julia with their hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. Sorry about my star stickers. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to hop in here and say that I think that during the retreat, we talked a lot about the need to make some deeper relationship across communities. So just affirming and validating the things that I've already heard you say. I want to reflect, Allison, that I think that idea of building a committee that is specifically focused on sustainable funding sounds like a really great idea. From the national perspective, in the work that I doing my paid job, I would say that all over the country, COCs are really struggling with the sustainability component when it comes to funding. So getting ahead of the curve there and thinking about that strategically feels great. And then I want to slide in my resignation really quickly here in order to make a plug for the part of the Anchored Home Plan that connects to the coordinated entry system. And so for those of you who are not aware, next month will be my last advisory council meeting due to some changes with my family system. The coordinated entry committee is incredible. It's got about 13 members. We've done a lot of work to involve with reentry. We've done a lot of work to involve with building equity into our system. And there are some important parts of that Anchored Home Plan that connect to that, as well as an audit of our coordinated entry system. So I'm so sorry to leave you with a lot of work to be done, but of course the work is never ending. And I'll be available to answer questions for anybody who steps into that role. But those of you who are on this call, there will need to be an advisory council member stepping into the chair of that committee as well, ASAP. So thanks for letting me put that plug in.
Julia, can you remind me though, did we not have a co-chair for that? Or so you were sole and the co-chair is not interested in chairing?
So that's not entirely accurate. I had asked Laura if she would be willing to be my co-chair during the retreat, and then the coordinated entry committee hasn't met for 2 months, and I have not had a chance to connect with Laura. So I don't want to volunteer Laura to step right into that full role. I just think that you all can have more discussion about it, but not me.
Okay. And you know, I want to say thanks for your service. I mean, this is a great kind of community need that it's been great to have fulfilled with, you know, very, you know, knowledgeable people and processes, but also people very committed to bringing new voices to the table. And I've seen you do that. And so I'm very appreciative of your service on this. It's one of those things, I think you've been co-chair for, I don't know, multiple years. And so just want to acknowledge and to thank you for your service in this area. And we assure you that we will not let all that hard work go in vain, that hard work is just going to be built upon. So thanks, Julia, for your service. And we'll let Laura think through, you know, and we'll make sure that whoever steps into the chair role will be prepared to chair this committee. It's a really important committee. It's one of the committees, if you think about it, that was within the whole COC system, the first to identify the inequity of the tool that was being used by, I would say, a vast majority of communities, and recognize that you know, the tool was not designed for everybody, and therefore it was not a tool that was equitable in the placement and the prioritization and calculating people's chronicity, I guess is a word of saying it. So thanks for all your work on that, Julia, because I do think that we're headed in the right direction with that committee.
Thanks, Allison. I appreciate that. I'll see you all next month.
Yeah. We'll try to figure out a way that we always see you, Julia. So be careful. Yeah, it's gone, but not forgotten, right?
I see Will has your hand up. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Mitch.
Yep.
Thanks. And first, I also want to reiterate our thanks for your service, Julia. And then so I want to follow up on some of the Anchored Home discussion. One of the things I really took away from that discussion during the assembly meeting was, I think it was member Perez Verdia who had mentioned talking to the folks in Houston and how everyone in the community kind of referred to their strategic plan all the time, and there just was this unified vision and support behind the plan. And so that to me seems like a really good goal to get to. And so I'm curious, and as a meeting, Jessica, you talked about like, opportunities to, continue to receive feedback and, maybe iterate. It's referred to as a living document. So I'm curious, like, what that kind of looks like, because I do hope to, provide opportunities and spaces for kind of folks' thoughts on where we can be adding to or improving the Anchored Home as we move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've had quite a few discussions really just in the past, I would say 10 hours about this and about what it might look like. I think I would really stress that exactly what Allison was saying, that when we think about amending this document, we need to think about, are we actually amending the strategic plan for the COC, or are we clarifying a direction, or are we clarifying an action statement? Like, I think being really deliberate about what our end goal is. But yes, it is absolutely the COC's plan. I would say the process for making changes or amendments or addendums would go through the Community Prioritization Committee. The Community Prioritization Committee ultimately is the committee that works on what are the needs of our community around housing and homelessness. So I think that would be the appropriate method or avenue to have those edits made or additions made, or however it looks. But I will say that after my conversations, I am very vested and will be having lots of conversations about how can I help everybody in our community find themselves in this plan. Because I think that's the really important part. If this is going to be our Continuum of Care's plan, everyone needs to know their space, their role, and how they can help either achieve the goals of Anchored Home, or how they can take those goals into the work that they do. So I'm going to be spending some time with the committee this month, I'm sure, and really thinking hard about what does that look like. So just wanted to share that, but long answer for the short answer of the Community Prioritization Committee.
Wonderful. Well, that can be part of my pitch for anyone who wants to join us on the Community Prioritization Committee, as we kind of work to receive feedback from the community and work to continue to build on these things. And that's something also I noticed from the assembly meeting, was that like even the assembly members were kind of discussing and discourse over, okay, what is their role in, like tackling these issues? And I think that's something that, I'm hopeful to do through that committee, is like kind of try to help engage with stakeholders and see, like, try to discuss those questions of, okay, like what is everyone's role? Because everyone, I think there's confusion there at all levels, and then trying to get everyone on board towards, our shared vision as a community.
Yeah.
And I did touch base with Michael. So Michael Fredericks, I apologize. Michael Fredericks helped with the retreat. And she has really been in our community instrumental in helping organizations make their strategic plan a live document. And I've agreed to send out to this council examples of how she has done that with the actions that are in the strategic plan for Covenant House. And so it's great dashboards. It's great. It like what Jessica is saying is it doesn't change what the document is. It adds to the ability to operationalize it. And so I'm going to get some examples out to the group and Will, to you. And Michael said she's also willing to work with us on it. And I think that I would sure encourage us to take her up on that offer and make sure that we have a document where everybody does see themselves in it, and they're not wondering, well, what's happening with families, what's happening in our community with transitional age youth, what's happening in our community with veterans. And so there is some things that we can do that as we operationalize this plan, makes it really clear for like what Jess is saying, that everybody sees themselves in this plan, right? And so I will get those out to everybody if everybody can at least let me get back to the office on Tuesday. But I will get those out to everybody, and then I'll work with you in the first couple of committees to have Michael participate and you know, let us ask her some questions, and then we can develop as a council what we want our go forward to look like for each of these. And I think that that does mean that we might need to do some adjustments with roles and responsibilities on each of our current configuration of our 4 committees, right? Like data might do some different work, right? So this we can add to, and then like everyone's saying is, we don't want this to be dependent on any one of us being in this space. We want this to be a space where anyone can come into and they see themselves, right? And so we'll work really hard to make that happen. Did everybody get a chance to read the press release that was attached? I think I don't know if it's attached. Okay. You know, I tend to prefer a scenario in which I know that the entire council agrees before a press release is kind of sent out. And I know that while we just have a majority on the call, I would ask that I receive I don't even know, I just lost my word, a recommendation for us to approve and have this submitted.
Is that a motion? I'll second if so.
I don't think I can do the motion. I'm never good with Robert's rules, but
You shouldn't.
So if you entertain the motion, Allison, then Will can so move it, and then it'll need a second.
Okay, I'll entertain the motion then.
And I'll move for it.
This is Jenny. I'll second.
Okay. Can we get a vote, a roll call? And if anybody, typically I think that happens in these scenarios is when you do get the second, if there's any questions, right now is the call to question. So if anybody has any questions or has a part in the press release that either is not clear or they would like clearer, please bring that up, and we can do that now before we go into the vote. Okay, how about a roll call?
Yes, indeed. Okay. We have Holly Morales,
Yes.
Allison Kier,
Yes.
Roger Branson,
Yes.
Will Walker,
Yes.
Charles Gorman. Is he still? Might just be stepped away. Robin Dempsey. I think she may have stepped away as well. Julia Terry.
Well, darn, am I the last one?
No, we
I
have
was gonna
David Rappel as
abstain,
well.
but I'll go ahead and vote yes, because I think that's what the folks who are away are.
Okay, that'll get us to where we need to be. Thank you. Approved.
Thanks, Julia. Okay, well, we will work, and I'm sure it's going to be posted on the coalition, and I will keep the group informed if I get any, or Robin, if you can also, if we get any additional questions about it. But it really is kind of a opportunity for us to distinguish some differences between us and our role and the coalitions. So thanks for doing this. And if somebody can, that's all I have for this. If we can move on to the next, I can't see what the next agenda pieces. And I will do one more shameless plug for people to please fill out the survey, because if not, then that means that Robin is going to have to call everyone. Okay. I know that we are getting close to the end. Do we have some committee work though that we need to follow up on? And can I ask if people can give us 5 more minutes?
So we had included the committee reports within the meeting packet that was distributed.
Got it.
So if folks had anything to follow up on from those that can stay, we can, you know, kind of discuss those. I know we're actually after time now, so don't let us hold you up, folks, if you have other places to go. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty informal from now until whenever we wrap up.
Okay. And has the NOFA been released yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. That does become busy time for all of us. So
I will say, Allison, though, check in with Jason when you're back at the office, not while you're on vacation. Because there is a NOFO out, but it is not this COC NOFO. And Jason was part of a conversation earlier today. So
oh, great. Good to know they're covering all the meetings.
They gotcha.
Okay. Do we have any closing comments? From any committee member?
I have just this might be like a suggestion for someone to add to the executive committee, but something that you had noticed or had mentioned was kind of maybe a discussion on like committee roles, like between the various committees, maybe the inclusion of a new committee or new committees. Like, I think like that should be something maybe on the agenda for at least executive committee and maybe the overall body next month, because it seems like that's going to be an area to discuss further and try to navigate some of those roles.
Great idea. We can make sure that we address that at the next exec committee. Okay. Closing comments.
This is Kenny. I'd like to.
Okay, Kenny.
I am just so pleased. What a joy to be with. I've been through these meetings where they're all presentations and all that kind of stuff, and to hear about the newfound direction and identity and the anchored home plan role and just really leading the community. I'm really pleased. I think that this is kind of indicative of our time. New mayor, new assembly, homeless chairs, and just I'm really excited about the work of the advisory council. I was doing some research on it, and it says that the COC is a collection of relevant organizations in the community, and in various different areas: government, faith, city, and nonprofits, etc. And so this is a collection of relevant organizations, each of you kind of thing for it too, and you represent a broad swath. If you're over business, you represent the entire businesses in all the community, faith and all those kind of things. And so the representation that you have and the voices that you bring and so on is, I just see the vision as being great, and those that you'll be able to represent and bring to the table and to kind of rally folks around. You'll be able to pull in the assembly and the municipality and the businesses and the nonprofits and actually bring them all together around Anchored Home as a vision going forward. So I just really love the vision of what I'm hearing for it. And I just wanted to say, as a community member and my other roles of whatever I do in homelessness, that I'm just really pleased with what you're doing. So just want to put in that plug. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenny. Kim.
I just wanted to bring up that the annual governance review will be occurring probably the second week of September. And when I say governance, I mean the homeless management information system governance. So as you all know, we have a statewide implementation that both Balance of State and Anchorage is participating in. And because of that shared structure, we have a shared review process that's facilitated through the advisory board. But with that process, we need input from both of the COCs on whatever suggestions or changes are desired in any given year. And so I just wanted to put it out there to this group that both HPRS council members, as well as just members, providers of the community are really encouraged to attend that review and suggest any changes that you think would improve the service delivery of AKHMIS overall. Sorry, I have a sick kid coughing in my face. When we get a specific date for that meeting, I'll make sure to let you guys all know about that. But in the meantime, if you'd like to review the existing documents, those are on our website under the governance. So that's all I had.
Thanks, Kim, and I hope your child feels better. Yeah, I bet you do too. Okay. I can't see any other hands or comments. If there are, I apologize. If somebody else could help me. Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Sorry, I thought I was gonna have this chance when we got to the calendar page, but I just want to stress, if you are looking at the calendar page, the very bottom item, we are working with the Balance of State Continuum of Care to host a joint Alaska Housing Summit again. So we had the first annual Alaska Housing Summit last year. We'll be having that again this year. It's down at the BP Center. There's a link for registrations there, and it will also be available as a hybrid meeting. So there is capacity limitations at the BP Center, but if you wanted to attend virtually, that is available there. There's an agenda there, but I can just briefly give an overview that there will be a session or a roundtable about healthcare integration, as well as some in-depth deep dives into what the status of housing and homelessness is, both around the state and here in Anchorage. And then I'm very excited, a youth panel. So some youth with lived experience, hosting a youth panel to talk about the youth system in Alaska and their experiences and some of the upcoming work that will be happening around the Youth Homelessness Systems Improvement Grant. So if you are interested in that, the registration link is there. Shameless plug.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, big clap between the RCOC and the state. We brought in $2 million to improve the youth system. So we'll keep everybody informed of meetings and conversations about it. It's led by the state YAB, so very excited to work with Foot and the group. It's very impressive young people that are very engaged through that whole crazy application. But yeah. Okay. I guess I should just ask Jess, do you have anything else? No.
No. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy. Julia put in the chat that their plug is for the next meeting to be in person with pie. So that is now my commitment that there will be a Julia safe pie sitting at this table at the next meeting.
There
For the going away.
For the going away.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the see you later, not goodbye though, because we don't let anyone.
Later. Yeah, nobody gets to go. We're just see you later group.
It's
Okay.
Roger, motion adjourned.
Okay. Well, everybody have a nice evening. And if anybody wants comic relief, go to the field on Pine Street, Covenant House will, I'm not gonna say we're gonna lose our next game. I'm gonna need to start getting some people in the softball league that don't play softball, because it's really starting to get embarrassing. But anyway, if anybody wants some comic relief, tonight at 6:30, you'll see your Covenant House team show up.
That's awesome.
Okay. Okay, you guys have a nice night.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Robin, for your help.